Hey there, it's Mandy Noel again from Southern Oregon University. I'm a Master's of Arts in Teaching student, getting my elementary teaching license, and I have a background in environmental education. A dear friend of mine was asking me if I could please record myself telling the lichen story. So I'm going to do that for you today. If you've heard it before, then feel free to tune out. And if you haven't, then tune in. So I am standing here amongst this magical grove of manzanita trees here in this oak savanna on a granite hillside overlooking the beautiful town of Ashland. And I decided to climb up in this manzanita tree, which is more of a shrub, but this is an old ancient one and it feels sturdy enough. And I asked permission from it before I climbed in, and it seemed willing and able. So here I am up in the tree. There's lots of different lichens in this manzanita tree, and that's why I chose it. So over here, one that I really climbed up here for is this one. Oh, look at that beautiful bright neon green lichen. That is a wolf lichen, or Vulpenia, as far as I know, kind of lichen, and it is a fruticose lichen. There's 3 different types. Foliose lichens are similar to this, but they would be more leafy. An example of that would be like a dragon skin lichen, which I don't have here to show you. But these ones are mostly the fruticose, I believe. And if I'm saying that wrong, just bear with me. I know a little bit about a lot. That's what I always like to say as a naturalist here. And not only is there this beautiful wolf lichen, but there's also another really cool lichen right here that I'm forgetting the name of. And then this one that's really well known as Old Man's Beard right here, or Usnea lichen. I do know that one for sure. It's a really cool lichen and has some neat properties, antimicrobial. As you might imagine, birds love lichens to use for nest building, and they have lots of purposes, more than I will ever know, I'm sure. But sometimes it's best to just let things remain a mystery and just appreciate them for their beauty, in my opinion. So back to the Usnea lichen, and there's some other kinds here as well, but I'm going to focus on that one for you. Ooh, this one, super cool right here. Really long, dangly. These are pretty dry, which I'm a little shocked by. It is a sunny day today, but we've been getting some rain, so I was expecting them to be a little more juicy than they are. But the story of lichen that helps you remember what this creature is, because it's not a plant, it's not an animal, it's not a fungus, it's actually a combination of a few things. It's a mutualistic symbiotic relationship that's going on here. And the story that I learned to tell kids about how to remember what lichen is, a lot of people think it's moss, which is a very basic type of plant. And plants, what all plants do is they photosynthesize to make their own food using sunlight and CO2 and water. Sorry, just in a tree, so it's a little awkward. But lichen does photosynthesize, but it does other things too. So, lichen, there was once a fungus named Freddie. And Fred, the fungus, let's actually call this fungus Francesca. It doesn't have to have a gender at all, but let's just call it Francesca. And Francesca is a fungus, and she's an amazing builder. She has this 3-story house that she built with her bare hands, and it has a spiral staircase and even a swimming pool in the back with a diving board. It's this amazing mansion. She built the whole thing with her bare hands. But Miss Francesca is not the best cook. She can't make any food on her own. She has to order everything for takeout or delivery, which is about your only option right now if you're sheltering in place. So at least that works for her, and obviously she has the funds if she built that kind of house to afford that kind of food. But anything she tries to make on her own, she either burns to a crisp or she doesn't cook it long enough. She can't even make easy mac in the microwave. So Francesca is not a cook, but she is an amazing builder. And luckily, across the street, she's social distancing, but her neighbor across the street, Alex Algae, he's always making these magical meals. He's a great cook. And he does everything from scratch. He has a garden out back and picks all of his herbs from the garden to season all of his delicious meals. Anything you can imagine, Alex Algae, he can whip that up in a flash. So Alex is an algae, which is a plant, and Francesca is a fungus, which is like kind of like a mushroom. So those two are neighbors. They live across the street, and Alex Algae, even though he's this amazing cook, he's really not a good builder. He also built his house himself, but he did not do as good of a job as Francesca. And he's got holes in the roof and cracks in the walls, and the structure is kind of slumped into the ground. And on rainy days, he has to put out buckets to collect all the water that's coming in from his roof. So Alex Algae, not so great of a builder, but he is an amazing cook. And you can see that maybe these two might want to help each other out, right? So Francesca was staring over across the street into Alex Algae's house on one of those rainy days and watching the rain drip through the holes in his ceiling and go down into these buckets. And she thought, I am social distancing, but I do think that I could give Alex Algae some help here. I could probably go over and, put up a ladder and patch those holes in his roof and, kind of help rebuild that foundation for him. I'll make sure to ask him first, knock on the door, give him 6 feet of space, and make sure that's okay. But I think that he would appreciate it. And so Francesca goes over to Alex Algae's house and knocks on the door and says, "Pardon me, Alex. I just thought that, since we have a lot of time on our hands, we're not really employed right now, that maybe I could get up on your roof and fix some of those holes in the roof there, so you don't have to put out buckets to collect the rainwater when it comes through." And Alex was shocked by Francesca's kindness and said, "Wow, I would so appreciate that, Francesca. Thank you for the offer. And what can I do for you in return? I noticed that there's a lot of food delivery trucks always showing up at your house, and I may not be the best builder, but I sure do like to cook. Could I send you over a meal and, maybe some baked goods or something? I'll make sure I stay nice and sanitized when I'm cooking that for you." And Francesca was like, "Wow, that would be incredible. And, maybe somehow we could Zoom or Skype, and you could even give me some cooking lessons. And I could give you some lessons on building and construction." And the two were pretty satisfied with that. And so they carried out that relationship. And over time, despite the social distancing that they had to maintain, they were able to communicate with one another virtually, just like we are right now. And over time, Alex Algae and Francesca Fungus, they took a liking to one another. And now they live happily ever after. They actually get to be together. They don't have to be distant from one another anymore. And they live inside of this amazing thing that we call lichen, Francesca fungus, and Alex algae. Hey, maybe it was Fred fungus and Alex algae. They don't have to be heterosexual. They could, any kind of relationship is great. But these two live together inside of this creature. Dun, 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 and they support one another. The fungus provides the structure, and the algae photosynthesizes and provides the food for the lichen. So there they are, living together happily ever after. The end.